Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. To have a very special guest with me today, she is a nail artist. Please welcome Kim the Product. Hello, Kim, and welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, glad to have you. So, I definitely want to go ahead and really get started by asking, where are you from, and tell us about your upbringing. How did you get into beauty?
So, I'm from New York. I live in New York. My
Mhm.
family is Dominican. So I guess that's my background or whatever. And how I got into the nail industry is during the pandemic, like a lot of us new nail techs.
Mm,
Yeah, basically during the pandemic.
mm.
I actually was in dentistry before.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was a dental assistant before.
Hmm.
And I was working in that up until like February 2020, and then
Hmm.
I got fired for whatever reason. uh,
Mm.
right, right before the whole pandemic kicked off and everything happened or whatever. So
Hmm.
I, it's almost like the best thing that could have happened to me because
Hmm.
of that I wasn't like because dental offices were deemed essential. So if had still been working at the dental office, I would have had to go right back to work in 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Because they let me go, I was actually able to stay home and actually take
Hmm.
advantage of the time that
Hmm.
a lot of us got during the pandemic. And I just started doing my own nails because I was always really into doing my own nails. Uh,
Right.
and I would like show them online, and people were really
Hmm.
into them. People started asking like if I could do theirs and stuff like that. So yeah, and then I realized like this is really fun to do. Like I'm really into this. So
Hmm.
that's how it started, pretty much.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really, really cool.
yeah,
Yeah, what part of New York are you from?
I'm from Uptown, from Washington Heights.
Oh, okay. Is that near like Brooklyn or like Harlem?
No, well, it's near Harlem. It's right above Harlem. So
Okay.
it's like downtown New York, then you have like Upper East Side, Upper West Side, you have Harlem, and then Washington Heights. And then you have the Bronx right on top of it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool. Now, in terms of like your favorite nail artists, like who would be your top five favorite nail artists?
My top five favorite nail artists. Okay, so in no specific order, I would say um I know Nails by May. I love her.
Hmm.
She's really one of the first people that I started looking at when I was like
Hmm.
kind of like submerging myself in the nail
Hmm.
culture.
Right.
And then I would also say Brittany Tokyo.
Hmm.
I really, really liked Brittany Tokyo. I really was really
Hmm.
into her more when I started, but she's very good. Um,
Hmm.
I also love Finesse Your Claws.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's Finesse. I think it's Finesse Your Claws. I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly.
finesse your claws.
Her work is really good, especially the stuff that she does with Was Good. I like
Hmm.
that stuff. Yeah. Who else? There's one artist. Forgive me if I'm messing up their names, but I think
Hmm.
his name is Tony Motoyan or something like that. I'm not sure. I know he's like an Asian nail
Yeah.
tech. Yeah, he's amazing as well. I love him.
He's
Oh,
from
and
Japan. Make
Soji.
those. Hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. I love him and I love Soji. Can't forget Soji. She's amazing.
Hmm.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
don't for my top five for sure.
Yeah, those are really, really cool. Those are a lot of, Asian based nail artists, like the Tony the Toko I can't pronounce his name either.
No, no. It's like I always see it, but I never like stop to read it, but I just see it.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like his work is really, really cool, very futuristic. I really like his composition with the nails that he creates.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I think he when he did an interview, I read about him where, he started as a fisherman. So that's very interesting.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, I found it to be very, very interesting. And I was, I kind of wondered, like, like, wow, like from being a fisherman to nails, that's really, really, interesting. But also too, like, like how you said, Nails by May, Soji, their stuff is really, really cool. I really like Nails by May because her stuff is very kawaii, but it's out the box. She's
Yeah.
not afraid to dip her toes in different mediums and work with different things, especially that are unconventional. So that's what I like about her stuff.
Yeah, I'm really into unconventional style nails, avant-garde, like you're not really gonna be able to wear them, you
Right,
know, on your everyday, Um,
right.
and I love using unconventional materials to create those types of like, yeah, those types of that art. So
Mm,
I think it's really amazing what nails have, how far it's come. Like it's crazy.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. Now, how would you describe like your nail art style? Would you describe it as versatile? Like, how would you describe like your nail style?
So I would definitely describe my style as very also avant-garde.
Hmm.
At times, that's kind of what I love to do the most. A lot
Hmm.
of 3D, but then
Hmm.
also kawaii. I'm really into the cutesy, very cutesy stuff, um,
Hmm.
and very abstract. I think above all abstract because I always kind of like
Hmm.
dwell on the fact that like if you're looking for something exact, don't come to me because it's like it's gonna be the way that I interpret it,
Right.
as all of us, as
Yeah.
all of us
Same. Yeah.
do. But like, yeah, so
Mhm.
I would say, yeah, definitely that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and I like how you play with different mediums and things like that, and
Mm,
also like with the 3D, addition you added some of your nail sets is really, really cool,
thank you.
and that's like the whole thing now, like with the chrome, the bubble chrome and melted chrome, things like that, or just like the full body chrome in itself. That's what I like about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been so cool. And honestly, I feel like I haven't even hit the precipice of what I really want to do because
Right, right.
yeah, during the pandemic, I used to do a lot of like I was just letting my imagination run wild. I was doing all kind of crazy like things I could think of. And then once I started working, I kind of
Mhm.
had to like tailor myself to what the girls wanted. Like the girls get amazing fun things, don't get me wrong, but they also
Right,
live their lives too, so they're not gonna
right,
always do the crazy stuff. But
right,
I
exactly.
really, yeah, I would even like to take it further. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I got so many ideas.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I definitely want to get into your journey having your own nail business because you did mention to me before we started the interview that you're a traveling nail artist. So I definitely want to get into that. So what has been your experience having your own traveling nail business, and what also goes into being a traveling nail artist as well?
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate the question. I like to like really center on that because I feel like
Mhm.
it's definitely a different experience to get your nails done at your home or be it or maybe not your home, your friend's home, like just at the
Right. Hmm.
comfort of your space. Um,
Absolutely.
and again, that started because of the pandemic because
Hmm.
I started the business basically I want 2021.
Hmm.
So still things were still kind of like not things were open but not completely and people were still very
Hmm.
leery of like nail salons and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start. I feel comfortable enough to start the business, but I'm gonna do it in a way where people can still feel comfortable,
Right.
and know that they
Hmm.
are clean, they're in their own space, and you know
Hmm.
it's
Right.
more like a personal experience. So that's
Hmm.
where I was
Absolutely.
at. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna just get my travel case going and I'm just gonna put myself out there basically.
Right.
So yeah, it's one of those things where like, when you're like doing something, but you don't even realize that sometimes you don't even realize that you were taking all the right steps until you're like on the other side of it. Cause like
Right. Hmm.
buying so much stuff I was buying so much stuff. Like I was buying stuff in bulk. Like I was buying like everything that I needed, but I had no plan. I was
Right.
buying the
Hmm.
stuff. Like I have nail art like that I bought like back in like 2020. Like still I have it to this day because I just was buying so much. And I'm like, I'm gonna do something with all of this. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do it. And
Right.
it just all came together. And then of course everything was pink because I love
Hmm.
pink. So everything was it just kind of like just all the pieces fit together and it just everything was right. It was just on brand. It was just
Hmm.
like ready to go. Um
Hmm.
and yeah, I still remember the first girl I took. I must have took like 6 hours to do it. but I was happy, it was a great
Mhm.
experience. I did go to her home, and then once I did that, girl, word of mouth is such a powerful thing for
Right.
because once I did like the first like 5 girls, that really
Mhm.
like multiplied to like I want to say like 20 people that I had that year, like a constant rotation and so many new
Mhm.
people and stuff like that. So yeah, yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. But I definitely want to also get into like the expenses part in regards to being a traveling nail artist. So what are some things like financially and especially with materials wise, one should consider with being a traveling nail artist in terms of like I said, materials, products, money, travel and things like that. Especially with distance as concerned.
That's a great question, actually, because I feel like a lot of people are curious about that and they kind of like ask me in little ways, like without like really trying to ask me too much. But I really feel like I'm slowly getting it down to a science. So, okay, so first of all, I take the train almost 80% of where I go.
Mhm.
Where are you from, actually?
I'm in Southern Maryland.
Oh,
I'm in the
where are
DC
you?
area.
Okay. Have you ever been to New York?
I have a couple years ago. I have before I even got into college, around like 2014, somewhere around there, 2013.
Okay, okay. So basically, you could get anywhere in New York City. You can get anywhere you need to go pretty much on the train or the bus,
Mhm.
and you can get there within at least 2 hours. So
Mhm.
as long as you're in the city and I can get there on some type of public transportation, I will take that public transportation to you.
Right.
So there's times where, so yeah, I'm all the way uptown, but people want to see me. I have so many clients in Brooklyn, so I will
Yeah.
troop on the train for an hour and a half, hour and
Mhm.
45 to get to Brooklyn to see those clients. Um,
Mhm.
and early on, when my prices were a little bit lower because I had just started, I was really
Mhm.
taking the train every
Right.
single place I went because I had to think
Mhm.
about, profit versus, like what am I
Mhm.
really making today? If I'm spending
Mhm.
$60 on a cab to get to Brooklyn, I'm really not making that much on the set. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
to kind of think about that. As my prices were able to like kind of go up a little bit, I was able to take cabs more often, to
Mhm.
in a way where like it wasn't cutting too much into the profit. I was still, making a good, good amount of money. Um,
Mhm.
it's very important to me that I don't charge anybody like an extra fee. Like people sometimes ask me like, well, why don't you have them pay your cabs or why don't you is it extra for traveling? Well, first of all, I'm only a traveling nail tech. So I can't really charge an extra fee for traveling because that's the only option
Mhm.
that you have. So I just put
Right.
it all in the base price. Be it it's a luxury, so it's just all in the base price. And it's my job to get to you. So I'm not going to tell you, hey, the cab to get to you is this much. The cab to get to you is, is this much.
Right.
I'm going to get to you and it's just going to be in the base price. People
Mhm.
do ask for me in New Jersey, which is a whole other state. It's not far, but it is another state. And I charge
Mhm.
extra for that, obviously, because I can't take public transport over there. I actually could. It would be a crazy mission, but I could. Um,
Mhm.
so, things like that. There's some parts of Queens that are so far out, like by the beach, and I'll
Mhm.
charge a little extra for that, because again, I can't take the public transport straight.
Mhm.
But I have it down to a science as far as the money, like how much I want to spend on me getting there versus, how much I'm trying to make that day. And it also helps to kind of know what you specialize in because
Mhm.
I travel, all my art is very extensive. So if I know that I'm about to go do a set on you and it's going to be extensive nail art, it's worth it for me to catch, to take a cab to you if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
then also as far as the public transport, I have that down to a science because so I carry this case with me. The case is about 45 pounds.
Mm.
Everything in it. It's got like everything I could need in it, obviously. And then I've got my Telfar, the big one, and then I carry that, and I would say that that's about like 20 pounds. So I have it down to science on like which train stations have elevators, so that
Mhm.
I don't have to like carry the huge thing up the steps.
Yep, the steps. That would be hard.
Go down the steps. Yeah, yeah. And the first year, I was really doing things like that. Like I was like
Oh,
overworking my body. It was crazy. Yeah, everybody's like, I don't know how you do it. You know, you got to get a studio. You got to get a car, which is also something that kind of ties into that. That people are always telling me, like, well, why don't you get a car? That would actually work out worse for me, the car, because I'd have to tailor how long I'm spending on a service, like what time I'm leaving versus what time I'm getting there, because then I have to account for parking, you
right.
know, and then God forbid I can't find it, and I'm late to the person because I haven't found parking.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have to now then spend more money because I have to put it in a lot,
Mm-hmm.
if I can't find parking. And then the studio I'm still playing with. I don't know. I really like traveling, honestly. I really like the whole luxury of being able to give people a service at their home. So
Mm-hmm.
that too. But the studio is a maybe. The car is like a no, 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 not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely understandable with the car because I'm definitely sure in New York it's hectic all the time in terms of traffic.
Oh yeah, traffic too. Yeah, I didn't even mention that. It's the traffic
Yeah,
is crazy too. So yeah.
yeah, it's just mad nuts. That's like within DC, like it's hard to find parking. It's
I
crazy.
imagine, yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, and on top of that, like some aspects of parking, if not a great deal of aspects, like parts of in DC is like expensive. So
Mhm.
you know
Right.
it
Yeah.
it's just mad crazy. But also too, I definitely want to get into just in regards to nail services. So what are like some of the nail services that you offer being a traveling nail artist?
So I actually right now I'm doing just strictly gel X services
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that that is my specialty. It's my favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what I'm best at. That's what most of my 90% of my clients, that's what they're looking for me to give them anyways. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna kind of just do this right now. But early on, oh, and actually I'm offering duck nails. I just opened that. I just opened that the other day because people been asking me for those too. So I'm like, okay, I'll scope I'll scope that for you since but I'm really mainly the gel X services. When I first started, I was doing a few different ones, but once I kind of realized that was my favorite, I just kind of stuck to that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but pretty soon, all my girls are gonna bully me into doing overlays because all their nails are like crazy long. They're
Mm-hmm.
getting really, really long under the extensions.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just keep doing extensions over and over. So they're like almost long.
Right.
Yeah, their nails are almost getting
Mm-hmm.
longer than the extension. So they're like,
Right.
hello. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to offer that as a service. But yeah, for now, just gel X.
Mm. Okay, so I definitely want to get into just in regards to pricing because there's a lot of talks now. A lot of nail artists are really talking about pricing and understanding, the worth and value within nail artistry. So people are charging $200+ for
Yes.
nail service and things like that. So, in your perspective, what are some things you take into account in regards to pricing? Especially in regards to time, materials, and things like that, just with a nail service.
Okay. So I kind of when it comes to my pricing, I first start off with a base price, which is just to
Mm-hmm.
get the nails put on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's either like 80, 90, or 100, and
Mm-hmm.
so forth, depending on the length of the nail. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all shapes are the same price for me. And then, so that's just the base price. But when it comes to art, this is also why I don't even like list my art prices on my page really. Like you need to inquire personally because the art is so specific. It's like
Right.
it's not just like, oh, French marble. You know what I'm saying? It's so
Right.
specific, and it's like one every nail different, and then it's or
Mm-hmm.
so it's everything
Right.
is kinda like one of one kind of for the most part. But when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to the art, I like to kind of separate it by labor and material costs.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to ever knock anybody over the head. I know what things cost me and what I need to charge to turn a profit.
Mhm.
I
Right.
never want to I don't want to knock anybody. I used to be one of those people spending hundreds in the nail salons. I know like every little bit helps, you know. But I
Mm-hmm.
do that whole math for the profit versus materials, but when it comes to the labor, it's kind of like, well, I don't like to separate it by time. It's more
Mm-hmm.
how cumbersome was this? How tedious was it? You know, how you saw me. You was right in front of me. You saw you saw how I couldn't bend this to go this way, and how you know what I'm saying? Like you saw
Yeah.
how much work this took. I literally created a work of art while we both sat here and you stared me at me the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
it's not easy. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that it's just kind of like I'm winging it because because nowadays it's like, okay, you want 3D art, there's a base
Mm-hmm.
price. You want, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I have that already, those base prices, but there's always like
Mm-hmm.
little things that are, you know, that change the cost. But at the end of the day, I mean, people are going to charge what they feel that they're worth. A lot of people, that makes a lot of people uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
because they then you have to release control. You either want this person's services or not. So if this
Mm-hmm.
is what how this person values themselves, then
Exactly.
you have to respect that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of, you know, a lot of people like to be in control, like, you know, well, I don't feel it's worth that, or I wouldn't charge that. Well, then, you know, go start your
Mm-hmm.
business. But this is what it is over here, you know. And my prices are so good. I think my
Mm-hmm.
prices are so good. I always, when I started, I mean, still to right now, I compare it to what
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is doing. What I can see,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of nail techs also are like me, where the art is one of one. So they talk about it privately. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as like base prices, and I have clients who have gone to other popular places. So I know what these places are charging.
Mm-hmm.
So that my prices are definitely fair. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And also you get it at the comfort of
Right.
your own home. I know that I'm also like almost at the same price level as a lot of these popular salons in New York,
Mm-hmm.
but I also go to your home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's there is the difference why you know, I consider myself affordable because you get that added luxury on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to get into this in regards to like collaborations. So, what has been your experiences like doing collaborations with different brands? Was there any collaboration that you really love doing? Because I know you did. You posted on your story as recently of what you did with NailCon. So, you can tell us about that also.
Yes, I love working with NailCon. Jasmine, she's runs NailCon. She's the head boss girl over there, and she's amazing. She has given me so many opportunities. So working with her, them is always amazing. This last opportunity, this last event I did with her, I got to work with one of my great friends that we actually went to nail school together. And
Wow.
that was a great experience because it was like a full circle moment almost. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as my favorite, I mean, I would have to say working with Atmos was really great, but that also
Mm-hmm.
NailCon also helped me with that. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, NailCon, like, you know, that encompasses everything. And oh, I when I got to work on my working with McCart, also I would call that a collaboration. I did a lot of collaborations with them, but I was also affiliated with them.
Mm-hmm.
I have to shout out McCart because I they were one of the first people that supported me when I first started. So working with them is always great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and I would say also um I was also going to say I worked on a music video, but that's not really considered a collaboration. But you
Mm-hmm.
know, anytime I get to like be added on to another project that somebody else is doing, I kind of think of that as, you know, a collaboration. So they're all my favorites. They've all been great, but I guess I would say working with NailCon has been a great experience all around.
Yeah, that's really really cool. Now, do you do tooth gems too, or you just do the nails?
No, I just do nails. This was at an event, a friend's event that I actually went to. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How long do the tooth gems last? Do they last a long period of time, or is it like a short period of time?
They should last a long time. I actually got these, I want to say I got these a week ago and they've been doing really well. But they should last you at least like 6, 7 months, honestly, if
Mhm.
they're done right.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very, very interesting. Now, is there any brands you like to collaborate with? You want to collaborate with like down the line?
Down the line, no, definitely I would love to work with Nike.
Hmm.
That would be great. I did this last I did these nails inspired by their collaboration with Tiffany's
Hmm.
recently, and I really love the idea of doing nails inspired by sneakers. Like I had fun doing that. So I would like to do it like officially, like through them.
Hmm.
And let me think. I think Sanrio would be super cute because that's
Hmm.
for my aesthetic. I think that would be super cute. Um, and yeah, I think those would be two that I think I can really, off the top of my head, like instantly think about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I want to get into this one question. So, in your perspective, in what ways has popular culture shaped the nail industry in your opinion?
How has popular culture shaped the nail industry?
Hmm.
Um, I guess I guess maybe just the demand for it. I mean, I guess just
Hmm.
the expansion of what a glam team really is.
Hmm.
I think the more ways that celebrities and I guess even the general public want to
Hmm.
express themselves kind of push the nail techs to kind of like get out of their comfort zone a
Right.
little. Yeah, and I think for some of us we didn't even have to be pushed. I think we just came in at the right time where like
Hmm.
people were expressing themselves in these ways more often, and
Hmm.
so that kind of lit a fire under a lot of nail techs, I think. And
Hmm.
also, like, I mean, like a good example of that is like these boots, those red mischief boots that everybody was talking about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, like something like that comes out and it's so polarizing where you see it everywhere. And so
Hmm.
nail techs feel like, well, shit, like, oh, sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but, like they start feeling like you got to kind of keep up with the trends, so it's like,
Right.
oh, what can I do? And it might be something that's never done before, like making a
Hmm.
boot out of the nail, on the nail. It's like boom, that's something that nobody's ever seen before, but here it goes. And just because you had to try and keep up with something that somebody else was doing. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and to add on to that, speaking of the mischief boot, I
Mhm.
seen Nails by May and Gracie J do a
Yeah.
sculpted
Yeah.
boot. I was like, that
Yeah. I was like,
was
okay,
really cool.
I wish I had enough time in the day to be like, oh shoot, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'm too busy. Like I'm like, oh, this would be a great idea, but I don't get to execute it. So
Right.
seeing that somebody else actually like, thought of the same thing, but actually had the time to like go and execute it and stuff, it was like
Hmm.
hilarious and cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting, like how
Mhm.
a certain thing would come out and it just be popular, like those mischief boots, and those are $350. Like
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
not
that.
spending it on no shoes with no basic Astro Boy styles.
No,
No.
no. They were cool. I mean, if you're into that, I was actually telling my mother to get them because she's very much a collector. No, she wouldn't wear them, but
Right.
she loves collecting like very like cool pieces, very
Mhm.
cool like luxury pieces. So I told her like, you should get them because they're not even that much and you can put them up
Mhm.
in your closet or something like that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
she wasn't gonna wear them.
Yeah, like what has been like some of like your favorite like nail trends, in the nail industry in your perspective?
My favorite nail trends. I love a good like 3D nail with chrome.
Mhm.
That once I started seeing people do like a full set of just like 3D kind of goopy, that whole style with the chrome and
Mhm.
all, I love that. That's always a good set for me. And also the just anything chunky. All the chunkiness I've been seeing coming out, I'm a fan. Like
Mhm.
anything like this, I'm like a fan. Um,
Mhm.
I'm trying to think, because I kind of try to like, you know, I follow them, but try to not follow them. So I'm like, but oh, I really like recent. I think this started a few months ago where it was like you could draw with the 3D. you can make something 3D, but then draw over it with the chrome.
Mhm.
That too, I've seen a lot of this last these last few months, and I
Mhm.
think that always looks really good.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I like the chrome nails. I love the 3D, the duck nails is
Yeah.
popping now.
Mhm.
There's so many trends out. It's hard to really say.
Yeah, you know what else actually? Shout out to Hot Ebony Nails because she does that. Do you know her, Hot Ebony Nails?
Yeah, Hot Ebony, I think she's in DC.
Yes, yes, she is, and she is one of no, she's the first person that I had ever seen encapsulate the flowers with those bubbles that she does. I'm obsessed
Mm,
with that. I love that so much. I love the idea of encapsulating stuff outside the nail because so often it was always inside an acrylic nail or something like that. I love that, but specifically the flowers because I love flowers. So shout out to her because I
mhm.
yeah, I love that whole concept.
Yeah, I love flowers myself, like the
Yeah,
floral nails, the
yeah,
kawaii nails. I love what Joe nailed it and Pink's artistry is doing with duck nails and especially bringing back the crackle polish. I remember that came out like in the early 2010s
yes,
and now people are using it and it's coming back.
yeah, yeah. Because there's always a way for you to modernize things, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get it in a simple man. You get it on a duck nail. Suddenly, it's like controversial. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
controversial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's the ish.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I love duck nails. People are so like back and forth with it, but I think they're
Mm.
amazing. I wore them for 2 weeks. They're so easy to live with too. I was like, oh my god, like I thought this would be crazy, but it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. In regards to nail products, like what could be like what is some of like your favorite nail products to use with for nail art or like nail services, but also too like what are some products you would recommend for beginner nail artists in regards to like dealing with gel X or like any type of like gel type of service?
Um, so as far as with Gel X, when you first get your kit for Gel X, it comes with the dehydrator primer and the top coat and everything. I did use that for a while, but I did experience some pop-offs, and this is not even
Mm,
anything against the Prey nails because I love Prey nails. They're amazing. But
mm,
I think every tech has to find what works for them. Like just because that
right.
didn't work for me doesn't mean that somebody else isn't using it and having amazing
Hmm.
retention, But for me
Right.
personally, that didn't work for me. And I spent a while trying to find the right
Hmm.
primer and dehydrator. And
Hmm.
more so the primer, because you can get away with using alcohol as a dehydrator. But
Mm.
we still spend money on these things. But you could
Right,
also
right.
use alcohol as the dehydrator, but mainly the primer. And I went through, I want to say like 6 different brands, and ultimately I ended up using Valentino.
Mm,
And I would definitely recommend their primer and dehydrator because my retention ever since I started using them has been amazing. Yeah, and not
mm,
to jinx myself, but it has been amazing. It all started because I had like really good retention for the most part, but then I had
mhm,
one client who couldn't keep them on past like 2.5 weeks. Then I started
mm,
a challenge because I'm like everybody else stays on. What is it about you? So that's what kind of made me like try and find like different kinds. And then yeah, so the Valentino one is really good. But then it's funny because I also tried their polish and
mhm,
I wasn't a huge fan. So it's just funny, I guess, how that works, how like, it
mm,
doesn't have to be everything about a brand. It doesn't have to be good for the brand to be good. It can have just like, you know,
mhm,
some good products. Um but back to your question. Yes, I would recommend Valentino for beginners, the bond. And as far as nail art, I know everybody's really into the sissy clay right now.
mhm,
I haven't actually used it. I use honestly like a regular schmegular 3D clay from Amazon. It doesn't even have like a name brand, and it works well. So
mhm,
I want to say I'm sure that Sissy is amazing. I just know that they're so good. I used actually their chrome gel paint
mhm,
gel, and it is really good. So I,
mm,
I recommend that too. So that's how I just know the Sissy color gel, the 3D gel is really good too. But I
mhm,
haven't gotten a chance to use it. But if you
mhm.
ever want want to buy it and you want to get it really fast, I would check Amazon for some. I think Saviland, actually, they're a notable brand, and
Yes,
they
Salvaland. Yeah.
yes, and they have a 3D gel, a 3D molding gel set on Amazon. So
Hmm.
I think works really well. Um, so those are kind of my favorite thing. Oh, and also polygel.
Hmm.
When I first started, look, I have so many tubes of polygel, it's insane. But because when I first started, it was all about polygel. I don't know if you remember, they were trying to sell us all these polygel kits at the
Right. Yeah.
pandemic, you know? So
Exactly. Yeah.
actually the first thing that I really partook in that I was like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm a nail tech, like I'm using polygel. But
Yeah.
then as like, my style progressed and I started to do more gel X, I ended up with like 200 tubes of polygel,
Wow.
all different flavors. Like, no, let me tell you. And then you know how every kit comes with a nail file. It comes
Right.
with, like top coat and base coat. I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't have to buy none of that stuff till like 3 months, 4 months into working as a business because I had so many nail
Ah,
files, top coats.
that's crazy.
Yes, because I had so many because I
Goodness.
was so obsessed. But anyway, I say that to say that I really like working with polygel
Hmm.
as nail art. I feel like you can do so many different types of things with it. I really like I mean, it comes in so many different colors, so many glitters, so many like different I think it's an amazing product. You can use it for so many different things. I mean, you can even build the nail with it. You can encapsulate things in it. You could even use it as like even like nail glue. It has so
Right.
many different uses. So many different uses. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But looking back at your journey in terms of you being a nail artist, a traveling nail artist, so far looking back at your journey, like how would you describe the journey, the ride that you've been in, especially what are some things that you've learned within the journey?
Um, I learned a lot, I want to say, about patience. I think I had a lot of patience already because working in the dental field, you had to have a lot of patience. A lot of people are scared of the dentist. So I think that I already had a lot of patience for people. And then I realized that you need a lot of patience in this job because people don't always know what they want.
Right.
They're very indecisive. And then also learning just how to like do everything, treat everything as a case by case basis. some people are more
Hmm.
some people are more pickier than others. What bothers
Hmm.
one, might not bother the other, and vice versa.
Right.
um yeah, I've learned a lot also just about how to conduct a proper business, you know.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I've learned it's been a crazy ride, honestly. It's been a crazy ride. I've
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And it takes a lot. People think, you just have the skills, but you need so much more to be able to
Yeah.
really like run a business. I learned that it's like a 24-hour thing. It's not just people love saying like, oh, you get to make your own hours. Like it's amazing. You're your own boss. But I literally
Hmm.
work, I want to say like when I'm up, I'm working. If I'm not sleeping, I'm working. Cause even posting the content, but the booking, I also do all my own booking because I prefer it that way versus doing it on a site.
Hmm.
And also things are so again like specific that you want to kind of have those conversations with people.
Right.
Oh, literally, I'm like working 24/7. So I just learned that you have to put a lot of work in, and that, but if you do put the work in, it pays off. Definitely, it pays off. And
And to
putting
add on,
myself out there too, I also learned that to not be embarrassed about my work, to always like put myself out there even if I don't feel like it's the best. Because
right. Yeah.
looking back on it, it feels really good because you are gonna get better. As long as you keep on, you are gonna get better. So I also
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a grind. It's a hustle. And the thing is that, you do have to be really patient with yourself. And that's the thing with, nail education now. What I like about nail education, especially with beauty education now, like there's a plethora of things you can learn. not only just within nail artistry, but also understanding how to, navigate in terms of nail industry, but also understand the business side of it. And I think that's one of the things that I really like, what's happening now, versus when I was in high school taking cosmetology courses. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. And before I even jumped into taking cosmetology courses, especially even after, I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. So I like how the nail industry is now because there's so much education out there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's so many classes and so many specific classes that you can take, like you were saying. Um,
Mhm.
there's definitely a lot of resources out there. If you want them, they're definitely out there. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I also wanted to say that I also learned a lot about myself because I was
Mhm.
somebody who I was really into a lot of different a lot of different avenues, but I
Mhm.
just wasn't sure exactly which one to take. And I
Right.
spent like a lot of time like being lost, like wondering if it was like something that was wrong with me, why I couldn't like
Right.
fixate on one specific, you know, avenue. Like, why is it that you want to do
Mhm.
12 different things and you can't really like, make one of them stick? But it was like as
Mhm.
soon as I started doing nails, I realized that this was what I was supposed to be doing. Like
Right.
everything that I was doing before led me to this place. And now I'm ready to actually like take this and do it. And I know the right way to do it. Even if I don't have the answers at this moment, this
Right.
is also only my lane.
Right.
This is also only my lane. So there's no wrong way to do it. Like I'm going to, even though I don't have the answers, I'll get them. Like I'll figure it out because
Right.
you literally I was able to make my own lane. So I also wanted to say that, for anybody who ever feels lost, because I spent a lot of time feeling, lost, thinking that it wasn't like, that I was never gonna find what it was I was passionate about. But I think you just
Right.
also gotta have patience for that also. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Last but not least, where could people find you on social media? How can people support you and your work?
So my Instagram is Kim the Product. You can find all my work on there. That's basically my portfolio. Um, And I also have a YouTube. I'm not so active on it, but I do have it. It's also Kim the Product. So if you ever
Mhm.
wanted to see what I was doing about a year ago, you can go
Mhm.
check that out. But there's a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos on there. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, you can always, you can text me if you're interested in booking. My number's there too. I'm so open. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's mainly those two places that you can really check me out. Yeah.
Yeah, have you thought about getting back on the YouTube, or you pretty much just like, moved on from that?
I do think about that all the time, and people reach out to me and tell me too, like, "Are you gonna do it again or whatever?" It's mainly a time thing. I have so many things going on.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's hard. It used to be like a mission. People don't realize what goes into editing videos on YouTube.
Right.
It's a
Mhm.
lot. Like, editing is a
It's a
lot.
lot. Yeah.
I also taught myself that from scratch. Like
Mhm.
iMovie, I taught myself how to edit those things, like, by myself. So I'm like
Mhm.
constantly learning. I'm like, so it's like I'm
Right.
not
Mhm.
100% that. Like, I'm like constantly trying to figure out if I don't know how to do something, I gotta go Google it. So
Yeah.
it's time consuming. Um, but I do want to do that. I do want to when I get more time, more downtime. I do want to do that again.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing with us being like nail artists, people don't realize like how you said we wear multiple hats. It isn't just doing nail art; it's being
Yeah.
also a media person, producer, content creator. So we all those things and more.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I didn't even realize how many hats I had to wear till they're all falling off my head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kimberly, for jumping onto the show. This was absolutely a very fun conversation. Your work is absolutely great. Keep doing what you're doing.
And your work is great. Listen, we need to interview you because yeah, your work is amazing. We can't leave that out. You're awesome as well.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed myself. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Be sure to check out my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye-bye.